Welcome to Friday Vibes. No script, just chat. We talk all things food and beverage, and so much more. Feel our vibe and search for Friday Vibes on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And make sure to give us a 5-star review. Now your hosts, me, Alex Baer with Genius Juice, and Wade Yenny. All right. Welcome to episode 46 of Friday Vibes. I just added the logo. There it is. Alex Baer, CEO and co-founder of Genius Juice. I'm literally doing everything on the fly, no script at all, as far as controlling all the music, the images. I think we need that vibe in to get really good at StreamYard, Wade.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to have to revisit that whole thing because I think maybe that's part of the duties is tag along on Fridays, right? But today's Thursday.
Exactly. No rules apply. The Friday Vibe rules do not apply on Thursday at all. With that's what makes this episode extra fun. Some laundry list items to go over. Number one, give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. It's really simple. It's not a 1. It's not a 3. It's not a 4. It's not a 0. It's only a 5. That's it. Yeah. I mean, look at Wade's.
That's like magic. That's like magic, right?
That is magic.
Yeah.
You merged from 2 hands to 1 hand. That's impressive.
Yeah. And I have to shout out before we get too far into this. I got this in my mail today. I don't know if I can zoom in close enough.
Yeah. Rich insights. We got that too.
So we talk about, I talk about swag, right? Like this is a 10 Trees hat, which is phenomenal. I'm going to leave it off so everybody can see that it's really me. And I don't want them to be fooled that it's not me. And check this out. And then if you turn it,
look
at this. Wait for it. That's a Yeti. I mean, that's legit. So Rich, and he sent me a nice little note. Thank you, Rich, from Rich Insights. That's great. I will legit. I'm not a huge hat person, but I will legit wear this hat. And I also have to shout out real quick. I don't know if I can get it close enough for this. Can you see that?
Is that a
Holly Scoops?
Holly
Scoops. Yeah, okay, and that's Jenna Grossbart, and I'll send I'll put the tag in here. But great stuff. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Jenna. Love it.
Yeah, I got not to get too far into it because we do have a guest we're bringing on. He's driving on the streets of Canada right now, so he's going to be mobile. He's going to be still in his car, so he's not moving, but he's mobile. He's on his phone.
Right.
A big shout out to Avanti Press. They're going to be a sponsor for us. They sent me a bunch of holiday cards. They do high-end holiday cards you can't just find anywhere. They're really cool. I also got a wooden Dodgers pennant.
What?
Yes, I got a wooden. It's made out of wood. It's in my car down. I just picked it up today. It was sent to us by one of our sponsors as a thank you just for doing what we do. Wooden pennants, like something you see on a wall, but made out of custom wood with a Dodgers logo etched into it.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it's random, but it's awesome. So let's get into our guest here because he has been patiently waiting. I don't have the YMCA theme music teed up, so I'm going to have to use something else here. So let me turn it up a little more. It's kind of the nighttime driving thing going on his side.
That's right.
Hey, Karls, co-founder of Midday Squares. How you doing, brother?
Yo, can you hear me?
You sound great.
Loud and clear. All right. So
why does Wade look better in the real person than the graphic image? He looks way hotter. I can't understand that. We all, usually the graphics look better, but in person, Wade looks way hotter. It's the hottest thing.
I'm not gonna argue that one way or the other, but it's good to see you, buddy. And before we get too far into this, and I feel like this could easily go off the rails, but before we get too far into this, honestly, buddy, from the bottom of my heart, congratulations. So happy for you. Newly engaged, Jake Karls. Couldn't be happier for you. I don't haven't had the pleasure yet of meeting your fiance, but if she got you to propose to her, I know she's off the charts, right? She's got to be another level awesome. So congratulations to both of you. Seriously.
Yeah, I echo that. I echo that wholeheartedly as well. I've not met her either. I've only seen her through social media and also LinkedIn. I was really touched by how you proposed to her. It's on LinkedIn for those that haven't seen it. I don't want to ruin it on what happens, but it's amazing. It's done in a movie theater. There's bags of popcorn flying all over the place. The best proposals, Jake, are the ones where they're caught completely by surprise. She was caught by surprise. That's all I got to say about that. Like the way you did it, how touching it was, how you thought through it. I mean, you put a lot of planning into this. It wasn't like you brought her to the ocean and just proposed, right? That's the cheap way out. Like you did it legit to propose to her. So congratulations, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate both of you. Yeah, it was a very special moment because 4.5 years with her and 4.5 years in this entrepreneurship journey as well. So she's been there in my lowest times and my best times in my life. And when I did it, it took a month of planning. But the good news is I have an entire media team that helped me out with that. So I was able to pull it off. And like I said, she's the opposite of someone that likes to be on social media, believe it or not. And she actually loved that it's a memory for life to have, to be honest. And yeah, no, I appreciate both of you. You know, like I said, like you guys are both good friends of mine. I know we don't hang out often because we all live in different zones of North America, let's call it. But when I do get to see you and hang out with you guys in terms of chatting, it feels like we see each other every day. So I'm grateful to be here today, and thanks for the Friday vibes. It's always good vibes, and I'm excited to get into this little conversation tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we love you, brother, and thanks again for being on. You're a third-time guest here. Third time's a charm, and also just needless to say, man. I mean, finding your product locally at my Target. I used to, before Target there was Sprouts. That's where I'd find your product. Before Sprouts, I would have to, beg your team to send me some over here in the U.S. and which you always did. You obliged always, but now that it's an 1,800 Targets, it makes it a lot easier to find. So I'm seeing it in Targets all over the place here. Great price point. The product, obviously, you made some changes to the formula for the better. So congrats on, I mean, since we last spoke, you were probably in about 300 to 400 doors. Now you're in over 2,000. So congrats on just everything, man. So personally, professionally, love it.
And you know what, I appreciate, but I think that, there's a lot of good and there's also a lot of hardships that have gone in that last like 3-4 months since I guess we had that conversation we did obtain a lot more retailers and made some more sales and did all some good stuff and I got engaged, blah, blah, blah. But I think there's also been, some of the hardest moments of my life during those 3-4 months where I've wanted to actually throw the towel in, and my partners as well. Just there was deep pain and sadness and loneliness at times in the last 3 to 4 months, even though there was so much amazing. And I always like to show the other side because, all these people say, "Oh, you're killing it," and I'm like, yeah, we're having some success in certain things, but if you see the crying to sleep at night and all this stuff, like that's the real shit. That's the real stuff that I know all of us go through at some point in our lives. And for me, it's like this last quarter, we have done so much change that it has gone zigzag like I've never seen. And just trying to ride that zigzag wave without being so emotionally involved, without being so attached, has been extremely difficult. But we have great partners and people in our lives that have helped us. Like I said, we work with Wade, at Fresh Market, obviously, and previously at Jimbo's. And you've been a big supporter, Wade, throughout these last couple of months. We've gone through some turbulence, and you've been a huge supporter and always had an ear open for us. And you too, Alex. Your texts that come in and you say, just like it means a lot. Like I said, I don't see you guys all the time. So like, when I do hear, it's like I feel that energy. And so that there's that ups and downs, and I think it's important to have good people that you work with and just are friends with as well.
Well, it's the industry as a whole right now. I mean, Alex and Mark talked about it the other day from a founder standpoint, but looking at it from retail standpoint, inflation is what it is. People are dealing with cost changes every day. Supply chain's been an issue the entire year. There's increased pressure across the board when you look at it. Obviously, inflation isn't hurting sales from a dollar standpoint. Inflation can artificially inflate sales, but what happens is obviously wallets are constricting. People don't have as much money to spend, so then you start seeing units and cases and tonnage down, right? And so it's been an interesting year. I think we've all in this industry the last, call it 3 years, have ridden the wave, right? And it's we've kind of it was very, very good, and now it's getting really, really choppy, right? And the water's getting really rough. And I think collectively we just need to think about that. And I, like I said, Alex did a long piece on it with Mark. Dollars are more important than ever now, right? What you need to make money, and you need to go where the grass is green. And now's not the time to try and get into, let's call it 7,000 doors, right? You have to focus on where your bread's buttered and where you are actually turning product, making money, and it's profitable. You can't, now's not the time to spend money to try and grow sales in a non-profitable manner. Now's the time to really, really buckle down and take care of the accounts that are taking care of you, and where you're turning product, you're not spending money that you don't have. It's just, there's so many pieces right now. And I think the quicker that brands, founders, everyone realizes that, the better off we'll all be, because it's really treacherous out there right now. Alex, would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really powerful thing where, we have someone who comes on that they're seeing success, right? Commercially, in stores, great velocity, new flavor drops, a lot of excitement around that. But there's that side to it, the public eye side, and what people are seeing on LinkedIn and through social media. What I love about Jake, and also, co-founders, and family, Nick, Les, is they keep it real. They're talking about, this is fucking hard. I mean, this is, even with success, even with some investment that comes in, it's still really hard. It's still really stressful. Few survive this business. I mean, it's 1 out of 800, usually have any kind of an exit that's successful. Those are the statistics. It's 99 out of 100 fail their first year, and that second year, whoever succeeds, only about 3 to 4 out of 100 actually make it all the way. So it's very, very, it's not a lottery, but it's definitely very low chances. So I love how, Jake is here. He's talking about it, what's actually happening behind closed doors. You show some of that in your social media, but I'm sure there's a hell of a lot more than what you're showing in your social media of all the difficulties. So, what Mark and I talked about this week, the long, rough road of CPG, it is real. And just know that you're not alone. There's people that are doing 10 million plus in sales that are still struggling, and so that hopefully that makes people feel a little better that everyone is going through this. So Jake, with everything going on, right, your team is handling all this and you're really working. Are you going to be embracing these ideologies with Midday Squares, which is, let's slow it down a little bit. Let's focus on where we're at. Let's not try to go into a ton of new retailers in the US. I mean, what is your plan based on the environment right now?
So I love it. So it is treacherous times.
Oh, I think I lost him. We lost him.
He's back. You're muted, Jake. You're muted. He's talking. He's muted.
Yeah, we can't hear you right now.
1 second. Am I there?
There you go. There you go.
Okay, sorry about that. I pressed some stupid button by mistake. But okay, so this is what I think. We're in wartime right now, all of us. Anyone in the world, more or less, is in a wartime type of, economy and stuff like that. So, for us, our team is fully dedicated to humans and entities that want to play ball with us. And what I mean by that is, I think you said it before, Wade, when you were talking, but you know, engage with the folks that want to engage with you and give it your all. You can't focus on spreading wide and just spraying it, right? Like maybe that would have worked in the past, but right now, you know, we're a loud company. We're loud on social media, we're loud in person, and it's a bit polarizing, not controversial, but it's polarizing, and I think that that has had some amazing effects on building certain relationships that are very deep with some retailers. And then there's some relationships that we can't even get in touch with our partners. And, it's not like we're trying to sell into them. We're already into these accounts, but they just don't answer anything. They don't answer. They don't even engage. They don't care. Even if things are going completely wrong, which are very solution driven that we would fix ourselves. So today, Alex, we're focused on giving all of our attention to partners who are going to bat for us and are allies of ours. And we're willing to spend and invest, even in these hard moments, into those partnerships to grow, because we know at the end of the day, chocolate is still an indulgence. Chocolate is an indulgence. So in hard times of your life, you want indulging. You want to indulge on things. And given that we're a better for you product, it's actually more in your brain to want to indulge even during these hard times on these types of products. So for us, we're now just focusing solely on people that we have good friendships with, people that we've made friends first with and then do business with, because those people are literally willing to go to war with us and stand by our side. But there are a select group that are not willing to in the United States and in Canada, and it makes it very difficult. So we decided to just say, screw it, let go of those resources there and invest into those who are willing to play. And we've actually seen a difference since this current crisis has come into that effect. So that is currently how Midday Squares is playing: is give the resources, time, and energy to people that love us and care, and let's continue to grow with them, and then let the other stuff just maintain.
Kind of a hardball question for you, because this is the same questions that I get at Genius Juice, where our smoothies are $5 to $6, a bottle, right? I mean, compare that to a Naked Juice, an Odwalla, even a Koya, that are $3.99, or even a Harmless Harvest, they're at $3.99, $3.49, $2.99. So one thing I noticed is that when you sized it up, right, to that 1 square versus the 2 squares, the price went from like $3.69 down to like $2.49. But it's at a high price per ounce, right? Like it's considered to some a luxury item versus a necessity item. And that's what we're struggling with. That's what other brands are struggling with. How do you plan to navigate? Are you concerned that as we keep going into this environment, that people are going to say, you know what, if I'm going to Target and I have $20 to spend, I'm going to buy, a 5-pack of, I'm just making this up, a 5-pack of Hershey's versus a 1-pack of Midday Squares, because that's what I can afford. So like, how are you planning to combat that, where some see MDS or Genius Juice or other items, IWAN, as a luxury item and not a necessity?
So great question. So when we did our initial change and raise prices in June 2022, we were very naive, and our customers, the majority actually wanted the change to go from 2 square to 1 square. But we realized that our business wouldn't exist if we didn't change it with the price increase and all that stuff. So we actually had no choice but to change it. And we didn't realize how big of a deal UPC code changes, and how much it affects the data. It becomes a new item. There's a lot of issues. And then on top of that, our barcodes didn't work in stores. After that, so we had this whole thing where we almost bankrupted the company. But the thesis we made was the consumer would buy more than 1.5 of one square rather than just buying a 2 square item, right? And it took 6 months, Alex, 6 months till this day, to then finally see that the data is finally starting to skew to the thesis we made. We thought it would take 2 months, 3 months, but it took 6 months to get the consumer used to now grabbing 2 at a time at the stores rather than 1, because of the 249 compared to the 379 or 369 to 399, it's 27% price increase, right? So they were rattled at first, but then when you get them back into the habits, they forget about the price increases and all that stuff, and they focus on where is their function in life. And because we were an indulgence, also functional, we're playing 2 games. We're playing on the necessity of having as a midday snack to get your energy and you're keeping you full so you don't eat other foods, but also as a moment that you can enjoy during your day. So when you say are we worried about the $20? Yes, I could say that, but at the end of the day, we haven't seen that fluctuation happen from the current environment. We saw that fluctuation happen from consumers being shocked by the change from the 2-to-1 square and the price increase. But over time, that data started to skew back upwards. And I think that's where we're really focused is getting that thesis to be 100% true. And if it's not, then we don't have the same business that we thought we did. But I also would say to any brand out there listening here is like, you've been through hard times. You got through COVID. You've got through moments of tremendous hardship. Starting a business alone is crazy hard, and resilience is necessary to win. You're going to get through this time too. Just don't be emotional. You got to be rational. And like Wade was saying before, invest in what matters. Invest in the things that are going to make a difference and make the needle move rather than investing everywhere and testing and trying different things that you could have had that luxury of doing before. You're right, Alex. The pockets are less. Inflation is an invisible tax on consumers, and it does hurt the pockets. So you're right. Premium products likely will get hurt, but if you position your brand not necessarily as only a premium, then you play the game of the mainstream consumer, and that's what Midday Squares is trying to do. Is we don't want to just be a premium consumer product. We want to be a product that's available for every single person to indulge and still get clean ingredients. And that happens through the messaging, and that also happens through the type of distribution you have.
So Jake, I always like to look at it from a retail perspective and from my background and what I do, and knowing what you've done. So that was June, right? That you made this big change. So we've got founders on here, we've got everybody, and people will listen to it later. So what did you learn from this package change? As far as what was the biggest hurdle that you've dealt with or still dealing with regards to, I know what it takes to change a UPC at, like looking where I'm at, right. And in everything that's involved with it. So what was, and you don't have to name names as far as accounts, but what was there a hiccup? Was there a significant pothole in the road that was like, man, if I had to do this again, here's what I would do. Or here's what I would avoid. What was there anything like that as far as the package change goes?
Yeah. I wouldn't do it again. In the sense of, unless you have unlimited amounts of capital. So what I've learned through this process and what we've learned at Midday Squares is when you do a UPC code change, what ends up happening is your data is completely gone. So let's say you were selling 100 units a week per store. Let's just say that was the number. The retailer and the distributor, so your distributor who buys from you and then ships it to the retailer, they treat it like a brand new item as if it just launched brand new. So they don't consider the velocities or the amount from before. So when we originally launched, we were hype. We're like, order, because you got to stock the product because it's going to be crazier velocities. That was our thesis, right? But we went from doing $1.6 million months at the time to dropping to about 500K. And that's a huge drop. And then on top of that, when you make these big changes, unfortunately, in a package that's in the smaller size, we put a barcode that was quite small, the barcode that scans at retailers, and 95% of our retailers were unable to scan it. So what would happen is they would have to type it in every single time they went to the cash, or if it was self-checkout, the consumer would have to do that. And then on top of that, the retailer started saying, you know what, I'm just going to sell it as a grocery item or a dairy item or a produce item, wherever it was, and it wouldn't register as a Midday Square. So the stock and inventory was always off, so that no one was reordering, even though they didn't have the stock. And when you don't have merchandisers on the ground everywhere, you have no visibility. So we ended up losing, I believe, an opportunity cost from these two changes. The barcode being too small, number one, which could have been easily avoided for $20. And then the UPC code change, which was not avoidable at the time because of the way our business was that I think we lost an opportunity cost of $1.5 to $1.7 million over 6 months. And that almost bankrupted the company. So when you say before, how have I been? There's moments where I just like, let's just throw the towel in, because we might have made the biggest mistake ever. And then we had pressure from investors. We had pressure from everything. And I think that if you're going to do it as a brand, is give yourself 6 to 12 months of cash flow to deal with the amount of change that will happen till it gets back to what you believe it will get back to. It doesn't happen with the snap of a finger. The ordering takes time. The management of inventory takes time. The retailers don't always take it right away. So it's like you need to prepare yourself. You could be the hottest brand in the game, but if you aren't giving yourself 6 to 12 months, I believe you're going to potentially damage your entire company, maybe even bankrupt it. And that's why when we went to our first trade show in Canada after this change, and we were like coming in guns blazing, fired up, all of our distributors and retailers, when we finally got to see them in person, they're like, you guys are crazy. How did you even pull that off? They're like, that's a wacky thing to do. Only the large corporations do that because they can handle the damage or the time amount of spend and money and resources that have to go into fixing, solving, trying, and doing all these things. And then now it's clicked to us that we tell every brand is just be very careful about UPC code changes or be very prepared for a long journey ahead.
Yeah. And I want to, I think Genius is probably the king of UPC changes from the past. We haven't done a UPC change for 3 years because it's like traumatic. It's traumatic. It damages the company. It damages the reputation. My entire sales force is not focusing on growth, right? We're focusing on just damage control and fixing things. So that's one note is I've been through so many UPC changes with flavor changes over the year and packaging changes going from when Genius first started, we were at 16 ounce and 8 ounce, and we had 14 SKUs. Like, talk about making mistakes. New brand, Southern California, 14 SKUs, 7 in the big size, 7 in the small size. We went from 14 down to 2 within 5 months. So that's also like a nightmare, right? Dealing with retailers. Oh, we're discontinuing all these SKUs. Plus we did a UPC change. So we discontinued. We went from 16 to 12, and we went from 12 to 10, 12 ounce and then 10 ounce. So anyway, I'm like the king of going through all this shit. And it also reverberates. I mean, Jake, I think you said this, but it reverberates through not only retailers, but also distributors, salespeople, everyone down the line. And, Unify, KeHE, they take 120 days sometimes to put in these new UPC changes. Plus, you get charged for that, right? I mean, at least we did, where when they put a new UPC in, item code, brand new item code per DC, Unify DC, you're paying anywhere from $100 to like $400 per item. And then you have to go on an ad contract and all that. So I want to get into Target a little more, right? Because with Target, when we launched there, and again, nothing's really off limits on the show. Again, I think Target's a great retailer. I shop there all the time. I buy Midday Squares there all the time. I buy kombucha all the time. I buy Olipop there all the time. But their merchandising, I just got to put them on blast on here, right now.
Maybe you should tag them, Alex. Maybe you should tag them and get them on here, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're aware of it. I know they're aware of it because I talked to the buyer there. I presented in the past, and I told the buyer, I'm like, I just got to say this. I can't be nice about this. Like, your merchandising is borderline terrible. And that's putting it nicely. Items are, and I'm talking refrigeration, by the way, refrigerated goods, refrigerated food, beverages, high turning velocity items. They are half out or more in all the stores that I've ever been to. When I go in, not only Midday Squares, Olipop, Vive, Salty, So Good, So You, half their SKUs are out. And every Target, Jake, that I've been to, I've never seen all 3 SKUs on the shelf. I've been to 10 different Targets. I see almond crunch and fudge, or fudge and peanut butter. I never see all 3. And that's not an issue with Midday Squares. That's not a supply chain issue. That's a merchandising issue. And I remember when Genius launched in Target, I went to the stores, right? And I put the badge on, so I could go to the back and get the items from the back. I would find our product in the back, and there was nothing on the shelf. So needless to say, I'm not here to bag on Target because they have a lot of great qualities, right? They're a great retailer. They're growing. They're doing awesome in the holiday season. But I think this is a fundamental issue, Jake, in general, across many items in that high turning set, where they're just not merchandising. They're not stocking these shelves enough, and they're losing all this money. And then the brands are also suffering because the velocities go down when the item is not on the shelf. So from what I remember, when we were in Target, we're no longer in Target. I've been very public about this. We hired a merchandising service, and it was $7,000 a month to go to 500 stores once a month. I'm just like, fuck that. Like that is not where that's not going to get the job done once a month. So when you can't go to all these stores because you're in so many in Target, like, what is the solution there? Is there no solution? Do you just kind of bear it and take it?
I think yeah, it's difficult, and for us, we've had a very good relationship with Target. It's from the beginning. I kind of feel like it's like I have with Wade is a friendship, and like a really good friendship, and where I don't need to just talk about business, and it could be actually just friendship and hanging out and having a good time. And the Target team has been like that for Midday Squares. They've really believed in us. So we really enjoy working with them, and our broker, which I find really unique actually, does a lot for us. Their name is Moscow Group, and I want to shout them out because they've helped us a lot navigate through the hard times of merchandising and stuff like that. But you're right, you do need merchandisers in these larger chains because the out of stocks could get out of hand, right? And I think that we're working on that. We're working with also demand planning with the teams at Target to understand exactly the flow that we need because we're a fresh product. And, you got to be aware, right? Sometimes it's in the back and it stays there for a little bit. How are we engaging that? How are we monitoring that? And, I think with these larger retailers, you need to have merchandisers. You need people in the stores. You look at the model of Pepsi and Red Bull and all these companies, they have people in the stores all the time. Obviously, they're way larger.
A lot of money.
They did it over time, but I think that it's money, and you're right, it's a very expensive game. But when it's rocking, right? And I always believe, like I said, give time and energy and resources to the people that believe in you. And like I said with Wade at the beginning, Wade believes in Midday Squares and as this Target, and we're gonna give them, work with them to build whatever we need to support on both sides. Because you're right, they're it's not perfect. We're out of stock, a lot, but we are working on it, and we're seeing it slowly come down, the out of stock. So, I think it's a collaborative effort, and I think that some brands have a hard time with it. Some are a little easier. But like I said, partner with the people and give the people that care about you the attention and love, because it will make the difference in the long game. And I'm not in this for the short game. Either is my partners, and I'm Alex. I don't know if you are. I don't think you are because you're so passionate about what you do, and it's amazing. And Wade, I definitely know you're not in for the short term because I know you well. We've had deep conversations. So when you're in for the long term, it's like, okay, what can we do to sustain forever, not just have to be like a pump and dump or something that's in and out, spike and then back all the way back down, and that zigzag is dangerous. It's where do we find the flow, right? And yeah, so I don't know if that really answered your question, but I can tell you that we are investing in it to make sure that we can avoid or keep it at a lower rate as much as possible.
So I would touch on again from my side. There's so many things. Number one, I go back to the times we're in, and Google it. You'll see job fairs at any retailer across the country. They're struggling to keep help, right? Yeah. And I'm not making excuses from a retail perspective. I'm just giving you the reality of what's going on, right? So they're having trouble keeping the bodies in the store to put product on the shelf. So to Alex's point, the product might be in the store, it might be in the cooler. It's just not on the shelf because they don't have the bodies to put it on the shelf. And it's legit, it's real, and it's a problem that hasn't been solved yet. You've got the inflation piece, you've got the wage increase piece, you've got the lack of bodies piece. You've got so many different things working against you. And larger companies, Target, you want to name anybody else, a lot of them are on computer assisted ordering, whether you call it CGO, computer generated, computer assisted, where that computer is spitting that out. And so you got issues with data. There's new data. If it's a new product, it's not ordering enough. If it's a UPC change, there's no matchup. There's a lot of things going on there. So the human element needs to be involved and needs to touch everything. But following up on something Jake said too, and I've said this from day one, no one's going to sell your product like you do. No one's going to sell your product like you do. No one's going to stock your product like you do. So yeah, if you have the luxury, like you talk about the Pepsis, the Cokes, the DSD network, those people that have their own fleet out there, they're going to be Frito-Lay is a model example of DSD as far as taking care of products. So that's the goal. Long term is to be able to do something like that, but short term, you're relying on those store people and you're relying on your broker or your merchandising vehicle, whatever it is. And there's a lot of them out there. And I always fall back on too, that you have to hold those people accountable. If you're paying a broker or if you're paying a merchandising vehicle, and I'm not naming names, but what metrics are you getting back from them to see that they're doing what they say they will do? Are you getting pictures of an in-stock condition on the shelf every day? Are you getting, an update weekly on what that individual has done? And I push that more on the merchandising side than the broker side. But it goes both ways. What did your broker do for you this week? You wrote them a check for $5-10 grand this month. What did they do for you this week? And if it's a merchandising arm of the broker, what did they do for you this week? How many stores did they visit? What did they do? Did they fill any voids? What are they doing? And if you don't have someone in your team responsible for that spot checking and just following up and that accountability, you're doing it wrong. You're spending money and you don't know what you're getting back.
I think one thing that a lot of brands
I agree.
Yeah, definitely, Wade. And, one thing I think a lot of brands are not aware of that they need to be aware of is there's things that you just have to spend money on, which it sucks that you do sometimes, but you have to because of the nature. It comes back to the nature of the business, right? Wade was talking about whether it's Target, whether it's Publix, whether it's Kroger, Albertsons, any of these guys, a lot of these stores are short-staffed. They don't have enough bodies in the store to take care of the shelves. Velocity is going up. People are buying more items in general. We're getting into holiday season. People are buying even more now. There's more demand. There's more foot traffic. The pandemic it's kind of going up and down, but it's been down for a while. So many more bodies are in the store and people are getting over it mentally. They're going to the store. They're not scared to go out. So, But in this business, you have to just get people in the store, right? From Midday Squares to Genius Juice to whoever, because think about the set. I like to put myself in their shoes, a manager, right? Let's say a market manager at Target, a dairy manager at Whole Foods, a yogurt manager at Sprouts. They're managing hundreds of items, and they're not getting paid any more money if they're managing 100 items or 150 items. It's not like they're getting paid more. They just have to take the work, take it on the chin. New items came in. I'm not getting a bonus. Just I gotta take care of that product because of how many items they're managing and how they're not getting paid more to manage more items most of the time, right? If there's new items that come in, it makes it really hard to have the store take care of you. It's just really hard. And we found I went to so many stores when we launched in Publix, Target, Albertsons. I did a road trip, right? You probably remember on LinkedIn, I did a road trip. And these managers are trained to take care of the highest velocity items first, because those are out first. And then after they take care of the high velocity items, they go to the medium and then they go to the low. So the ones that are not high velocity items, they just don't take care of those as much because they're so busy taking care of the high velocity items. So that unfortunately affects out of stock issues, and you have to get someone in there to do it. So it's just, long story short, because I'm blabbing here, it's just so cost intensive to launch a new stores. It's just so cost intensive.
It's hard
to hire people. Go ahead, Nick.
It's hard, and I agree, boys. It's so hard. I agree, but you stay in the pocket. Alex, you stay in the pocket for so long, so you just keep going. I do have to go in 2 minutes because I have an appointment that I need to go to. That's why I'm in the car still.
Sure.
But we're giving away 2 cookie dough boxes, right? You're gonna do that. You're gonna do that after. We want to give away, and but I just think that anyone that's going through this hard time, if I could give a little thing, is retail is tough. Retail is the hardest game in the world to win at, and the reason being is not because of people like Wade. Wade's actually the reason why it's changing and becoming better, but because there's heavy duty infrastructure that you need to win, like the merchandisers, like working with your distributors to have a very good relationship so that they can have the demand properly set into the stores and your product actually get on the shelf. But I would say that I do want to shout out the people that are on the store level floor that do work extremely hard and do help brands out. If you have that human connection with them or that personal touch, they take care of you. Today I was in 3 of our stores here in Montreal, and I was with the managers of each store, and they take care because they appreciate when you come in, you want to offer some help, you want to help out a little bit. They look after your product. Even if you're not the highest velocity item, they care because you're a human and you're showing human nature tendencies that we all care about. And if you do that genuinely, you'll win. It's just you need to figure out how that scales. And that's why I say don't take on 50,000 stores if you can't support that. Obviously, sometimes you need the amount of doors for your scale, for your production, but focus on where you can give that love or how you can do it creatively with the people at the store level or with the people that you work with in the demand planning or at the distributor level. Make them feel something, and I promise you they'll have your back. And that's what we've learned over the last 4.5 years.
Exactly. I mean, I know you have to go very soon, but that's something that's so key is that if you can't go to 20,000 doors or 10,000 doors, go to the 500 doors and walk into each and every one of those doors, form the relationship. They will take care of you. That's how Genius has become bigger in SoCal, as we just dug deep in SoCal. We're not trying to dig deep in Seattle right now, because most of our business is here. And so I agree with you, man, where the human quality is kind of left out a lot in our business, where you just expect people to stock it as machines. People are not machines. People need to feel appreciated for how hard they are working. And I mean, I used to work at a bread shop for a year. Just that was hard. And that was just bread. That was just like 30 types of bread that would show up early, 5 a.m., bake the bread, stock the bread, take orders, people complaining about outages. It's fucking hard to do what these people are doing. So you're definitely right. You want to show that appreciation and love to them, right? And they'll take care of you. You have to go. We're going to give away your boxes. We're sponsored by Midday Squares this week. Jake, before you go, because I know you're out of time, do you want to give is there one winner or 2 winners?
2 winners.
Okay, 1 box of cookie dough for each winner, 1 caddy,
yes.
1 case, I should
12
say.
Pack. 1 12-pack, yeah.
So do you want to come up with the first question and then you can hop off and then we'll come up with the second? This is something that we talked about in this episode, and whoever can answer it will win that 12-pack. Something kind of cryptic, hard. That's not easy to answer.
Okay, 100%. So, what? Oh, it's actually hard. Wow. Well, I would say this is more funny than hard, but what does Wade look better on camera or in the graphic? And you won't offend him. Either answer is great. But does he look better in the graphic?
But what's the right answer?
Or the video?
What's the right answer, though? That's the problem. You're going to have to pick, Jake. You're going to have to pick the winner.
I would say, it's a trick question. I should win it. It's neither. He looks better in person.
Yes, I agree. That is the answer. No, but we asked a different question. We asked a different question. We'll ask a different question. So, what is so difficult about supporting a retailer that is very large from a standpoint of supply chain? That could be a very difficult answer. So, like, what are some of the ways that you can work with a large retailer with their out of stocks? How about that? What's some ways that brands can work with a retailer that has out of stock problems?
Okay.
What do they invest in?
So that is the question. We talked about it kind of at the tail end of this interview. This is we're sponsored by Midday Squares this week. You'll get a free 12-pack of their newest flavor, the cookie dough, which I am eternally jealous of Mike Fata because he had he was surrounded by them. He did a photo today where he had all the cookie dough around him. It was a good photo. It's so awesome you got him on your team. He's such a fucking legend. Great.
He's a gem. He's a gem. That guy. He's a hustler.
All right, so a bunch of answers. Jake, you pick whatever you think is the answer, because.
So Patrick said it right, but what is the third party help? What is the specific help? The specific service.
Kurt Visola said, "Let's fucking dough." That's a good one.
I can only see merchandisers. Gavin Conkle, that legend got it. He got it right.
Oh man!
But he knows. He knows that answer because he was on the other side. You know?
He's on both sides, and then Blackbird just launched in Target as well. So like they're well aware of what they need to do. Yeah.
Gavin's a good guy. Gavin's a good human.
I
love him too. He's part of the family. Oh,
okay.
Wow. Actually, okay. Sorry, Gavin. Lexi Gutierrez Goldfarb is the winner. Gavin, I love you, but that's a more specific answer.
Boom. Lexi. Yeah,
Gavin's had plenty of wins on the show already.
He's one of Lexi, Friday Vibes 100 at gmail.com.
Yep. We'll connect you with Jake. We'll get you the items. You're shipping to the US, Jake, which is good. So boom.
Yes, we're back. We're shipping again. Yeah.
Love it. All right, buddy.
Okay, well guys, I love you all. Do the second question. And Wade, my answer to you originally was you always look great. So there's no right answer, my friend.
Well, especially in my
okay, guys, I love you very much.
See you, brother. We love you.
Yeah, exactly. And I love you guys very much.
Take care.
What's up, buddy?
All right. So let's get.
Are we going to second question? Is that what we're doing? Are we that where we're headed?
I'd say we'll do a second question, but I selfishly want to win the second one and have no question. I'll just tell Jake that I won. But he's not around to see what kind of shit I'm going to pull here to win that prize. I have not tried the cookie dough one. I'm a big fan of their almond crunch, so I imagine I'll love their cookie dough. So let's second question. Wade, if you have it in the pocket, as Jake says, you can say it. If you do not have it,
I'm kind of tempted to see if anybody's been watching the entire show. So I was wearing this hat at the beginning of the show, and it's from a specific design. It's a brand. I'm wondering if anyone knows what. I'm not going to put it too close because the brand is right here, over here, right there. Does anyone know what the brand of this hat? I mentioned it when I was wearing it at the beginning of the show. And that was courtesy again of Rich from Rich Insights.
Look at Gavin.
Gavin's just
lemon water, half a case of
begging. Yeah.
Just the background story is that Gavin won when Yanni Huffnagel Lemon Perfect was on our show. He won like 6 cases of Lemon Perfect or 10.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. I'm trying to get it up there.
Me too. We were both trying.
There it is. She got it. So Lexi, what I'm going to say is technically you've won both, but there's a lot of other people here. So do you want both, or do you want to gift one back to somebody?
You're welcome to gift it to a co-host.
I almost ordered some today. I was looking at and I got preoccupied. I didn't order it, but I'm tempted to order. I didn't get to touch on when they're hitting retail, like actually hitting retail, because they're online now and it's classified as a pre-order, but there's no word as far as when we're going to see them out everywhere. So
yeah, that's why I'm like, how the hell do I get this? I can only pull a personal favor at this point, you know?
Right. Kirk was the second answer. All right, she's gifting back. Lexi's awesome. She's gifting back. So it's Kirk. He's the second person. He's the second person. You got him?
Yeah, I think Kirk should get it.
Absolutely.
And I'm within driving distance from Kirk, so I could always, grab part of that case.
I was just going to say, Kirk, count the bars. If Alex brings them to you, count them to make sure you have the 12, because I'm feeling you might have 10 or 9 or maybe even 6.
I might be the neighborhood, genius porch pirate, So you might see someone at night coming up to your door, taking something. So, all right. So Kirk, congratulations. You won it. And man, I missed the podcast that Kirk and Jeremy did, the Jerks podcast.
Yeah.
I was listening to that every single week. I thought it was a good, just like us, good chemistry, entertaining, fun. Hopefully are you guys going to bring that back at some point? Please bring it back. We love it. Kirk said, Lexi, make Alex buy it back. I copied Lexus. That's funny. All right. So what else? We're getting to the end of our episode here. We have another 5 or 10 minutes. I just want to emphasize, something that Jake said, that, this is really uncertain times, very tough times. I said it on Mark's podcast, on the show that with Mark that we did earlier this week. Two goals as a company next year: either be profitable or build revenue so fast that it's easier to raise capital, or both. If your revenue is not skyrocketing, be profitable. I mean, that's it. Like, go through your expenses, figure out, how do I be profitable this year? How do I raise margins? How do I negotiate with suppliers? How do I negotiate with our 3PL? This is the time for you to dial for dollars. And, Ari, I don't know if you saw Ari's post earlier today, where he was just talking about, here's what you need to do as a brand to survive and get through and make sure you're still around and you don't run out of money. Negotiate. So I think we have more power than we think as a brand. I want to just say that, right? Like, when you're pitching to retailers, you can't just fold like a cheap suit and say, yes, I'm going to do everything that you want us to do and put out all this money, right? I'm not saying every retailer does that, but some retailers do that. They make you pay high slotting fees. They make you pay marketing fees, demos, things like that. If you know that if you can't afford to be in that retailer because of how much money you have to spend to be there, there's a power in saying no. There's a big power in saying no. So just be very judicial and vigilant about where you go, and I think, there in the past, it was sacrificing everything for growth. That was what we did in the past. That is now changing to, let's just be profitable. Let's be sustainable. So, say no when you need to say no is my advice. That's it.
Definitely. That's good stuff. Powerful stuff. So Alex, he's got a new podcast you're supposed to check out.
I do.
I had it up there. Right here.
Oh, he does. Okay. So you check out Kirk and Kurtz and be our guest on there too. So Kurtz, who's the Kurtz? Not sure who that is. So Kirk and Kurtz, make sure to check it out. Yeah, I mean, we're all community here. We're all supporting each other, and we just, that's what it's all about,
Do we have, Alex, are we showing anything we love this week?
We definitely can. Let's
should.
Go. All right. So turn on the music here. I have a couple items here that I will show. I was mentioning this earlier. I have Olipop, which goes without saying, they're ruling the world right now. They're one of the few brands that's doing extremely well right now in our space. They raised money and they're growing. That's the vintage cola. And then the other one, I've shown this a million times, is the Trilogy Synergy. GT Dave, who created this brand, did not raise a single dollar with GT Kombucha. He had a $10,000 loan. He built it out from nothing. It took him 10 to 15 years just to, break, $5 million in revenue just to get any kind of significant revenue. And now he's a billionaire. So there's a lot of these overnight stories after 20 years, and he's been in the game for 25 years. Wade, I don't know if that model is so hard to do now, to be in the business for 15 to 20 years with the same brand, the same product, and know that you may not be able to flip and sell it in 5 years.
Right.
It's a new game. But GT, other thing I'll say, and I'm not going to get too off topic, just make sure you go into something you can see yourself doing for 10 years or more, because it could take 10 years.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely. All right. So I'm doing Rich Insights, because this is my new work water bottle. This is it. Rich, thank you. But no, product wise, I've got I've got two, but they're the same. And because my package was a little bit late, but they're here.
Pina colada and apple pie.
Yep, there it is.
Coconut Colt.
There it is.
Shows you how, Ari's a stand-up guy. I mean, he reached out to us. He preemptively reached out to us saying, "Do you guys want it?" We know Coconut Colt is, they're looking to scale. They're having some production challenges. They're not being able to pump them out fast enough. So it's good that Ari is really taking care of people in his network and sending out yogurt to people he loves. Good stuff.
Definitely. That apple pie, I've been killing this. This is the latest collab they did with Kale Junkie. And I've got maybe 2 tablespoons left. I don't know. Not very much. Been killing it. So it's great stuff. And the cheese dip that I showed last week, the Arbos, so good. I've used that in recipes. I made my own mac and cheese this week. We did nachos, and I've just been eating it out of that stuff is fantastic. If you didn't see that last week, you need to. It's great stuff.
What is so Arbos? Is that available only online, or is that also?
No, he's in retailers. I'll tag him here. He is in, and he's talking to Luke as far as maybe getting some new distribution, and it's just, I can't tell you. Look at his profile. He'll have posts where he's been, and I'm going to put the link up here as well. I'm trying to multitask, but he's in retailers. He's gained distribution, and it's great product. He's got 3 SKUs, very, very good stuff. So,
yeah, I'm always really inspired by entrepreneurs that you can tell they love what they're doing. And whether they become a $100 million brand or a $5 million brand or a $1 million brand, you love what you do. You love what you do. You're passionate about it, and that's all that matters. And I think one thing as entrepreneurs is don't get too attached to results. Don't get too attached to what you're seeing on LinkedIn or seeing in the news where brands are doing $30 million a year, because it's not always realistic what you read. So I've been in Genius Juice for 9 years, and passion has got me there. It's been very hard, but Wade has been in the grocery business for a long time. He loves what he does. I mean, he moved across the country for an opportunity, and
more than once, actually.
More than once, because you're Ohio to California.
Nope, Louisiana, Ohio to Louisiana to California to North Carolina.
Yeah, so
it's kind of like this weird pattern thing going on.
It's the same kind of zigzag line of being an entrepreneur. It's like it goes left and right and up and down.
Right.
So good stuff. So make sure if you'd like to sponsor us, FridayVibes100@gmail.com. We have a couple openings for January. Not that many. It's filling up very fast. We have some great guests coming up. We have Brad Woodgate coming up in January. We have Will Nitzke with IQ Bar. He's coming up, and several others. So we're going to have guests on here every couple weeks. If you want to be a guest, reach out to us, FridayVibes100@gmail.com.
Alex, I'm trying to find, we didn't talk about our I'm looking right now. Our ongoing sponsor, which I just pulled it up. Our ongoing sponsor is V Driven. And for those of you still tuned in, V Driven is a CPG partner for emerging purpose-driven brands. They fuel growth and innovation by providing strategies and support in every phase of the retail journey, from leadership coaching, brand management, accounting, sales strategy, day-to-day tactical support. They can be your end-to-end solution for the brand's business needs. I'm going to throw one more in there. I'm going to give them something else that they don't have on here. For distributor deductions. They can manage that for you. That's huge. That could literally pay for an entire person on your team. Distributor deductions. They can handle that for you. Their leadership team has decades, and that's not wrong. That's legit, of real life experience in all key areas of the business, and they know what it takes to help brands succeed. So that's V Driven. And I'll put the link in here as soon as I can get it to work here. vdriven.com, Luke Abbott. And we're going to have him on the show sooner or later, right?
Yeah, Luke Abbott's going to be on sometime in January or February. He's the CEO of V Driven, and he's a industry veteran. He's been in forever.
Yep.
And he's really good. So, yeah, and they're, just to emphasize again, they're an ongoing sponsor. They're going to be our sponsor through 2023. They're going to help us in getting a Vibeman admin for Friday Vibes. And we actually went through our first round of interviews yesterday, last night. And we got some good candidates. But man, we're picky. You know, we're picky.
Well, and plus it's highly sought after. It's a highly sought after position work with Alex and I. You know, we're trying to narrow it down to at least, 20, 25 people, but we've had hundreds of applications. It's been literally a worldwide fanfare of people throwing their name in the hat, but we're getting it down. Alex said we interviewed the first batch yesterday. I don't know, we might have to interview 24 more before this is said and done, but we're going to get the right person, courtesy of vdriven.com. And it's only going to help the show, right?
Exactly. I mean, you're understating how many people are applying. I mean, I'm having people track me down in person, saying, "Hey, is there still a position available?"
Right.
So I can imagine they're probably tracking you in North Carolina. They're surrounding you. So yeah, man, and maybe New Zealand might make it into the cut. We don't know.
They might. We're big there.
Yep. All right, I think we're good. We're over an hour here. We really appreciate everyone for tuning in. I was actually locked out of my Google G Suite account, which is why I just couldn't see anything for this entire episode. I had to go off of memory, which is never a good thing when it comes to me. We also have we have Will Nitsky on December 30th. We have Allison Kane on January 13th. We have Brad Woodgate on January 27th. And then next week's sponsors are Brandjectory and Avanti Press, which is those cool cards, for the holiday season.
Right.
Are you, so I know, since you couldn't make Friday of this week.
Yep.
What is going on?
I am actually headed to, Renee and I are flying out tomorrow, late tomorrow afternoon to Wisconsin, to visit my son, who I've not seen since he visited us here in, my goodness, was that May, give or take? So it's probably been a good 6+ months. So we're kind of doing Christmas with him this weekend in beautiful, lovely Madison, Wisconsin. I'm sure the weather's going to be very accommodating for us. So yeah, so we're doing a wham bam. We fly out tomorrow. We come back on Sunday. And then we've got a little bit over a week before we fly out to California and head your way.
Nice. Love it. So you're going to be in California. So just alerting all the Californians, the Southern Californians, Wade will be in the house.
I will be in Southern California. My plan is I'm probably going to be traveling via the train from San Diego to Carlsbad. We'll be stationed in Carlsbad. Not planning on renting a car right now. We'll see what happens. But if you're in the San Diego, Carlsbad, Oceanside area, come down and say hi.
Yeah, I will definitely be making it down there. And I'm long overdue to see Jason and Billy at Jimbo's as well.
Right on, right on. I'm gonna twist their arms and make them come up to Carlsbad. I think they want me to come down there, but we'll figure that out. We've got time to figure it out.
Exactly. And I have a golf tournament on Saturday, so I'm playing probably the most difficult course I've ever played because it's a links style course. A lot of people, if you play golf, you know what it means, but there's link style and there's normal style. Links is like the old Scotland, UK style where the greens are enormous. You could hit it 30 yards right and still be on the green. And it's extremely fast. Like those are like, when you watch on TV and they're putting 30 yards from the green to the green, like they're putting up the hill.
Right.
That's a link style. It's a very old school style. So I'm playing at the beautiful, I'm being partially, facetious here. The beautiful Skylinks golf course right across from Long Beach Airport on Saturday. A group of like 50 guys are going out there. I did a practice round there, Wade, where there were helicopters and planes flying over every hole. It's right across from Long Beach Airport. I thought there was a fugitive on the golf course, so the golf course is good. The problem is you smell the airline fuel, all the time.
Right.
Which is like golf to me is like nature and fresh air. So I kind of debated a little bit. I'm like, do we really want to play at this course? There's better courses in LA, but they decided to do Skylinks. So wish me luck there tomorrow. If I place in the bottom third, I'll be happy at this point. And there we go. So
you got it, man.
All right. So we are out of time. Wade, safe travels. Some really great topics today with Jay Karls, one of the guests on our show here today. So love you, brother. Take care, Wade. Everyone, we will see you here next Friday, back at the normal time, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. And have a wonderful rest of the week.
Love you, buddy.